Hey, this is Jordan. I'm doing my NFL spread predictions for the week. So, the first game is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens. Um, I think this spread is too large. I think that this spread is way too large. So, it started out at 11, and now it's gone down to 10 and a half in favor of the Ravens. So, I'm going to go with the Bengals at plus 10 and a half. Even though Ravens are a better team, I think that the Bengals will beat the plus 10. The next game is Seahawks Browns. Seahawks started out as 1 point favorites, and now it's a pick. So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are a much better team. Um, the way the Browns have been playing lately, the Browns have been playing terrible, and Seahawks keep winning. The next game is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Houston Texans. Um, the Kansas City Chiefs lost last week, so they're only favored by a few points. And Houston scored a lot of points last week. They killed the Falcons. Um, I still think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to beat the Texans by at least a touchdown. I think they're going to have a really good game, especially at home. Coming off that loss, I think they're going to play really well. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs at minus 3.5. The next game is the Saints versus the Jaguars. Um, I'm taking the Saints at plus 2.5. This is a really weird spread. Um, if you can find the Saints at plus 3, there's some places where it's plus 3. That's a really good. That would be really good. So I'm gonna say if you can find Saints plus 3, that'd be good. But I'm taking the Saints at plus 2.5 because that's where most places have it. Um, the Eagles versus the Vikings. So the Eagles are 3.5 point underdogs against the Vikings. I'm surprised about that because Vikings. I mean, people do not like Kirk Cousins. People like the Eagles a lot more with Carson Wentz than they do Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. So I'm surprised that the Vikings are favored. I'm gonna go with the Eagles at plus 3.5. I definitely have to take the Eagles at plus 3.5. That makes sense to me. Um, Even if Minnesota wins, they'll only win by a field goal. Washington Redskins versus the Miami Dolphins. I'm gonna take the Redskins at minus 5.5. I understand why people are betting on them because um, Case Keenum's back in, and the Dolphins are obviously terrible. Um, Yeah, I think the Redskins are gonna win this game. I definitely think the Redskins. I think Case Keenum's gonna have a really good game. I think he's gonna have a really good game, and I think the Redskins defense actually might have a good game too, even though they're not very good. 49ers versus the Rams. So the spread here is plus 3 in some places, and in other places it's plus 3.5. Hold on. This is weird. Most places at plus 3 though, so I'm gonna yeah. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna take the 49ers at plus. If you can get plus 3.5, then I would get the 49ers at plus the 3.5. But if you can only find them at plus 3, which is most of the places, um, I take the 49ers at plus 3, especially because the juice is is even for some reason on the plus 3 and on the minus 3 for the Rams. It's like minus 120 on the juice. So people are putting money on the Rams, I guess. Yeah, definitely take the 49ers. Falcons, Cardinals. Um, I definitely, definitely would take the Falcons at -2.5. There's some places it's at 3, but I would move it down a half point, and take the Falcons at -2.5. I think that's a really good bet. I think they'll definitely win by at least a field goal. Matt Ryan's better than Kyler Murray. But anyways, next game, yeah, so Falcons at -2.5. Next game's Cowboys Jets. I'm gonna take, if you can find the Cowboys at -7, that's a pretty good number. There's some places it's at -7.5, but mostly -7. So I would say I would take the Cowboys at -7. I think they'll win by at least a touchdown. Um, they're a much better team than the Jets, even though Sam Darnold's coming back. Yeah, I still think the Cowboys are gonna whoop them. The next game, Broncos versus the Tennessee Titans. That's a weird game because both these teams are terrible. You know what? They both have good defenses and bad offenses. So I'm gonna go with under 41 points. I'm gonna have to go with under 41 points in this game. And if I do have a play on the spread, I would take Denver at -1.5. Yeah, I'd have to take Denver at home. But still, they're both terrible teams. I think this game's going to be barely any scoring. I think it's going to be like, last week I predicted the Bills Titans game would go under, and I mean I was spot on. That was totally an under game, 14-7. So I think this could be another game. I don't think it's going to be that low scoring, but even if it's like 21-14 or something, or 17 even, that'd still be under 41 points. So you gotta take the under. Uh, Pittsburgh versus Chargers. I'm gonna take the Chargers at -6. I don't know why exactly they're not favored by a couple more points, maybe like 7.5 or something. Mason Rudolph is injured, so Hodges is the quarterback for the Steelers. Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely take the Chargers here. Yeah, definitely. Can't go with the Steelers. Packers Lions. I have to take the Packers because they're only favored by 3.5 points, and the Lions could upset the Packers, but they're just, I mean, they're a good team, but they're not playing out of this world. And the Packers, man, they destroyed the Cowboys last week. They beat them by 10 points. I think they could easily beat the Lions by, yeah, I mean, they're only favored by 3.5 points. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Packers at -3.5. I think that makes sense. Um, so that was pretty much all the games. Is there any other game that had a weird juice on it? All right, that wraps it up for the NFL spread predictions for the week. So hopefully I get a majority of them correct. But again, it is Bengals at +10.5, Seahawks straight up, um, Kansas City Chiefs at -3.5, New Orleans Saints at +2.5, um, Philadelphia Eagles +3.5, Washington Redskins -5.5, San Francisco 49ers +3, Atlanta Falcons -2.5, Dallas Cowboys -7, Broncos Titans under 41 points, and the Broncos at -1.5. And Los Angeles Chargers at -6.5. No, -6. It's dropped down to -6. It's not -6.5. Chargers at -6, and the Packers at -3.5.